can go in there and do your business. But you don't think that way until you've been burned lots of times and lose money. But once you have learned how to keep that from happening again, and the effects of having lost money, you will appreciate sound logic and rules. I don't have a problem with rules. I'm a rule-based, principle-based thinker. I have protocols, procedures. I have a routine that I follow. There's a method behind my madness. Even though it may seem like it's scatterbrained, I know exactly what the fuck I'm doing, when I'm doing it, and many times weeks and months before I even do it. Do you have to be that fanatical about it? No. So to remove all the bullshit that people say about me and what I teach, I have literally gave you a 60-minute interval 3 times a day where you can look for a setup. The setup requires you to know where the draw on liquidity is. You don't even need to know the bias on the day. Like, you don't need that. Just look at where we have come prior to that time. Is it more likely, because we've been going up, who's profitable? The longs. Okay. Is there a relative equal lows? Is there a singular low that hasn't been traded to yet? Because even if the day is going to be higher, they're likely to see it do what? Retrace, run some stops, and then accumulate those sell stops and go long. Smart money would be long, and then run the daily range higher, even still. Like, you don't need a bias. But to help you understand, to be principally oriented, have a rule-based idea, you should be focusing on developing a bias, because there's going to be days where you don't want to trade. You don't want to trade. And I teach you that. They're very generic days. They're not hiding from you. And when I talk about it on Twitter, oh, this is a day I'm not really excited about, or this is something I wouldn't touch. Otherwise, it's very static days. Days right before non-farm payroll, any FOMC day. Don't trade ahead of CPI, but after CPI, you can trade it. I mean, it's not rocket science. But many of you don't want to be told, don't do this. And many of you don't like to be told what to do. You come here, you listen to me talk, you talk about trading, you teach, you give things, you got students that are making real fucking money, you're showing executions that prove the concept, but you don't want to listen to the logic I share. Cameron. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why even fucking listen to me at all? Why? If you're not going to do anything with the information and follow the rules I'm laying down, what else are you going to do? I mean, think. The details, if you study them, you will see the method works. If you take a losing trade, guess what it does? The minimum. I lost 40 bucks. Really? Wow, that's like fucking 2 pizzas today. 2 pizzas. Yes, your stop loss is 5 handles to make 10 handles. This model is slated and slanted a little bit heavier towards NASDAQ trading. What distinguishes the time when he would trade NASDAQ or ES? The market structure that's in the chart on the 1-minute basis. That's it. What does that mean? If he wants to go long on a fair value gap, say between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, his rules state that if he sees the NASDAQ as the 1-minute chart forms and runs up into that, if he's seeing higher lows compared to a series of candles, and I'm not talking about an institutional price swing, and you know what that is if you've gone through my core content, just in the actual candlesticks themselves. If you're seeing candles make lower lows, even though they're going higher in ES, but not seeing it in NASDAQ, order flow stronger on the buy side in NASDAQ. So when he trades down into a fair value gap, he will trade NASDAQ, not ES. Very simple filter. That's not SMT. You're looking at the individual order flow on candle by candlestick basis. ahead of the decline down into a fair value gap that he would be going long. The entry will form between 10 and 11 o'clock. The fair value gap can exist to the left prior to 10 o'clock in the morning. Same thing applies to the 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock afternoon silver bullet. If the trade idea, if the fair value gap cannot yield, if it doesn't have it in the framework to allow for 40 handles from its entry to the draw on liquidity you think is the next probable draw, where it's going to go to, you don't take the trade. Now you have no fucking excuses. You have zero excuses. You have rules. You have limitations placed on you. The money management aspect is absolutely in fucking iron now. You cannot erase it. It's what it is. You can only trade one micro for every $2,000 in equity. Right now, zero equity when you start that funded account, you have a $2,000 account. You can only afford to trade one micro. When you earn $2,000, then you can do a second micro. That means your point multiplier for every handle move, fluctuation up and down, will now be only worth $4. But it's not going to get me money real fast. That's the fucking point. That is the reason why you're fucking broke and you can't make money. You're trying to do something that you can't do yet. Trade larger. It's not about fucking size. It's about quality. The quality of trade setup and the quality of execution and the quality of risk management. That's the fucking game here, okay? That's what everybody that's making money is doing. They're not telling you to fucking trade with 15 contracts. They're not telling you to trade with 5 contracts to do it better for you. It's there so you can blow the fuck out and pay reset fees, because there's a lot of fucking students that I'm going to be making over this year that's going to be coming for fucking payouts, and they need that money. And it's every funded account company out there. I'm not slighting them for fucking making the money. Hey, that's a great model. Huge fucking potential to be profitable, because the statistics state that you're fucking 90%, you're getting paid. And then you might have this aberration once in a while where you have to pay out to somebody. Wonderful. And it's under the guise that you're helping. It's even better. But let's be real. Okay, let's call a spade a spade. This is what it is. You're paying an interest payment of 8% a month on money that doesn't exist, whether you trade or not, and capitalizing on the likelihood that most people, and I mean like 98%, don't have any financial literacy whatsoever. They don't have any risk management appreciation whatsoever, and they have zero fucking self-control. And I'm bipolar, but I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm not in there fucking doing Mickey Mouse money management. If you see me taking 6 contracts, 4 contracts in a partial entry on a pyramid, I can afford to do those types of trades. You don't see me out there doing 50 fucking contracts of gold and 50 contracts when it moves one more tick away from the price and 50 contracts more on a fucking fake ass MT4 bullshit. At some point, you're going to have to listen to somebody that's talking real shit, real stuff, real world stuff. Can you get rich with this model? Yes, you fucking can, but you have to start where you're starting. And you can't start thinking that you have a $50,000 account when you don't. You can't start with a $100,000 funded account thinking you have $100,000. You're not starting with $100,000. You're starting with $3,000. You have $150,000. I'm funded, baby. I'm funded with $150,000. No, you're fucking not. You have the demo of $4,500. You know what it's like with a demo account. You can trade 25 contracts. Your broker would not allow it, but hey, it's fun, right? Well, these companies promise to be able to pay you up to 90% if you're right and you're in that funded account. Wonderful. I don't give a fuck what the parameters are, how many days you can be profitable. The intention is he's getting one withdrawal. That's it. And it's the one where he closes the account and we're done. That's how it's going to roll. Because the intentions are he wants to do this with his own money. Wonderful. When you get it out of this, you're going to put it into a real brokerage account. And then the real fucking fun starts. But he has less than $1,000 a month in expenses. His ends are literally less than $740 a month. That's not going to stay that way. In 4 years, it won't be that, right? When he has his girlfriend coming home from college and whatever life changes he's implemented to get himself in a more of an adult-minded, position to be with her, in a more formal way. He has to put the work in, and you can't think that less than $1,000 is practical for an adult living with someone else, especially someone that's going to be a professional in the working, community as a veterinarian, assuming that she's successful at it. So maybe you didn't give it any thought, but what happens if he loses? Say he gets up to the point where he can trade now 2 micro accounts, or micro contracts rather, and he's trading with $4 per point in the NASDAQ. But then he drops below that $4,000 cushion of his initial $2,000 in the account, but only $2,000 in equity that he's made. So let's put it in perspective. It would look like this in your combine or profitable account, $52,000. As long as the $52,000 is showing on the account, he can trade 2 micro contracts. If he dips down and closes a trade, whether by stop loss or physically manually closing it, and it's below 52,000, he has to trade 1 micro until he gets back to 52,000. Then when it gets to 54,000, he can trade with 3 micro contracts. If he drops below 54,000, he drops down to 2 micro contracts. That's the rules. But he can't, I don't give a fuck what he can and can't in your mind. I already know, as long as he listens, he will. Can't ain't even fucking part of this. I've already entered the chat. ICT is in this now. The boy's getting where he's got to get, either by a boot in his ass, or it's going to be a little bit longer duration, but he's not working the rest of his life. Okay? I'm going to see to that. He's done it wrong. Wonderful. Now he's got fucking scar tissue. If I'm going to be a good mentor, if I'm a good mentor, I'm a good dad or whatever you want to call it, he won't be working. Okay? That's how I'm looking at it. But I need him to have a mind shift, change, where it changes the way he views things. Because in his mind, as long as he's got money to afford a new reset, he's not going to quit. At some point, how many are you going to do before you're like, this is fucking stupid? In my mind, it was way past that. Way, way, way past that. But all of you out there that are trying to trade, and you're trying to trade with mini contracts or multiple mini contracts, and you're thinking, I'm doing this right, this is so great, blah, blah. What you're experiencing is over leveraged luck. That's what that is. And that shit ends abruptly. And the harm that you do to yourself psychologically and emotionally when it happens, it's so hard to work through. What do I mean by that? Well, when you're trading, and you're trading with big money, number one, it's stressful as shit. Extremely stressful. You can't tell me that you're focusing on price action or your model while you're in that trade that's over leveraged. You're watching the value of profit and loss tick. That's what you're really watching. And every time it ticks up $1,000 more, $1,500 more, $2,000 more because you're over leveraged, you're buzzing. And every time it ticks against you $1,000, when it's such an insignificant fluctuation in actual price movement, you're trying to talk yourself out of closing the trade. And that's not following your model. If you weren't over leveraged you wouldn't even be feeling that impulsiveness to want to close the trade or fear. Oh, better close it now. Oh, if I don't close this trade, then it's going to turn back on me. Or oh, if I close the trade, I know it's going to keep running. That's the testimony of someone that's absolutely fucking gambling and over leveraging. They're literally telling on themselves. If that outside language and dialogue is occurring and you hear them, okay? If you hear them saying it, you watch them, some of them are on YouTube doing it, when they do that, they are literally removing all fucking doubt that they're gambling, they have no fucking control of themselves, and they're over leveraged to the fucking gills. That is not a fucking sound trader. That is a gambler. That's the equivalent of the person that goes maybe once or twice a year, flies out on comps to Las Vegas and loses more money, but swears up and down they had a great fucking time. Thank you for not using any lube on me. I'll be back next year. Make sure you give me another free rental room. I'm going to come here with more money next year. Great time in Las Vegas. They say everything in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas. That mindset needs to fucking stay there. And don't go back out there. Do something where they have the odds in your favor, because that shit ain't it. In trading, some of you are trading. You're trading just like Las Vegas. Well, all I got to do is reset. Eventually, I'm going to get that 15 contracts and hold for a 100-point move. It's going to happen. The fuck it's going to happen. Okay, it's not going to happen because everything you're doing is going to ensure that it doesn't. You're increasing the amount of adrenaline and cortisol pulsating through your body while you're watching something with the hopes that you don't fail, when if you would have traded with the proper leverage, it doesn't fucking matter if it turns on you. You're trading the statistical probabilities of that setup forming and following suit to the rules and the model's expectations. That's what you're doing as a trader. The money is the least important fucking thing. The only time money is important is when it's time to pay your quarterly fucking taxes or when you settle with Uncle Sam at the end of the fucking year. And you better be on fucking time with it. Then after that, once that part's done, then you can glory and gloat about what you fucking made. Because until that man's fucking paid, you ain't made shit. You ain't done nothing. You've done nothing. 1 week, 1 day, 1 month ain't shit. It's nothing. That's nothing. And the only way that you're going to forge the mindset that takes you out of the working class hero bullshit, everybody that's working is on the plantation. You're all fucking slaves. And I used to be a slave too. And the only way you get the fuck off that plantation is to run your own show, your own business. And this is one avenue. It doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody, but this is one bastion that still exists where you can get yourself up out of that. But you need to stop thinking, I'm going to be rich overnight. I'm going to build up $2 million or $4 fucking million in funded account challenges. And I'm going to be funded and I'm going to do this and do that. Listen, I have students that do that, okay? Even if they use what I'm talking about today, their trading will be a lot less impulsive. They'll be more consistently profitable. They won't have the tug of wars that's occurring inside of them. They got to live up to expectations because they made everything they're doing public. So-and-so said he's $4 million funded. He should be $8 million by now. Don't do those things. You're literally making it harder than it needs to be. Trading already for a new startup, for a person that's beginning, this is one of the hardest things that exists. Like, it's very fucking hard. It's hard. But it's beatable. And you have to do everything opposite to what you think this industry tells you should do. Try to get money real fast. Try to get rich real quick. Try to over leverage. You only make money with big positions. You can't get rich trading small. Bullshit. These are fucking people that are working 2 fucking jobs, hoping you're going to buy their bullshit online. So they don't have to fucking work their second part-time job because they sure as fuck ain't making it in the fucking market. Where are the fucking results? Just getting a funded certificate is nothing. You can't fucking buy groceries with that. You can't fill your gas tank with it. You can't make your ends meet with that. You have to have visibility past that. And so many of you young folks are only seeing just that. and you think something magical is going to happen when you get to that funded account. You know it is. It's going to be fucking funny. Something magically happens. Your give a fuck is going to go through the fucking roof because now you're going to be scared shitless about every trade you take. Because the combine is, oh, I'll just reset it. Now, no. Because now at the funded level, it's not just reset that bitch. It's, oh, I got to reset, get the combine done, and then go back into that funded account position all over again. And chances are, if you're learning anything from all that, is next to nothing. Because you haven't controlled yourself. You have not presented a rule-based routine, a protocol that you have to follow. And the number one thing that you have to do is remove the interest in making a lot of money fast. Everybody fucking blows it doing that. That's the surefire fucking guaranteed approach that you're going to blow your shit, blow your account, fail as a fucking trader when you're trying to push too fucking hard too fast. You're telling me some guy walks up to you every fucking week, gives you $80 3 times a fucking week. You're going to give that guy a middle finger and say, fuck you, man. Don't you ever come up to me again and give me that fucking $80. I just gave that to you here. I just told you exactly how to beat the shit out of these funded accounts. Every company out there. But it's going to take, I got to pay monthly pay. You're paying fucking bills, folks, okay? I'm fucking rich. I'm fucking loaded out the fucking ass with money. And guess what I still have every month? People holding their hands out. Yeah, you owe me $1,600 for this. You owe me $5,000 for that. You owe me fucking $6,000 for that. I got bills. I got bigger fucking bills than all of you. But I still have them. Living like this costs. More money, more problems. But bills are going to be paid. They have to get paid. Guess what? When you trade with a real brokerage account, guess what you're paying? You're paying fees and you're paying commissions. What do you think is going to happen when you start trading with a real account and you want to trade successfully and you're trading 500-600 contracts a month? Your commission bill is going to be fucking ridiculous if you just simply focus on that. Oh, I can't do this. This is cutting into my P&L. Of course it is. But if you learn how to fucking trade, it won't matter. You'll outpace all that stuff. That's the whole point of me teaching you. I teach and have taught how to outpace inflation. I teach and I have taught students how to make money. And you have seen them. You have seen them come forward with their evidence, their proof. You are next. Stop worrying about the next student that's going to be interviewed by me. You are the one. You're the fucking next one. You're it. But you want to turn this into a fucking spectacle where I want to entertain myself and watch vicariously from afar. I want to see what everybody else is doing because I'm too chicken shit to get out there and do what's required to do it myself. And the whole time, you're working with fucking Carl. Come Monday, you're doing the same fucking shit. Making the same Mickey Mouse fucking wages and never changing shit because you're too fucking stubborn. You're too fucking stubborn. You don't want to listen. You don't want to listen. And what have you shown for yourself by doing that? Square one, baby. You're still there. It's time to pull up the tent stakes, pack the fucking tent, move on down the road and pitch a tent further, closer towards your fucking goals. That coffee shop fucking job, that is a fucking embarrassment. You should look at that and say, you know what? I'm 18 now. I'm making a change. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Dad said do this, and Dad said don't do that. I'm going to stay in those lines. I want to be able to say, Dad, it worked, or if it didn't work, Dad, you didn't do it right, and I failed because you told me to do this. That's exactly what I gave him. I gave him that fucking power. He personally doesn't fail. I do. So where's the fucking complication here? None. It's all on me. I'm 50 years old, about to be 51, 2 weeks. Spinal compression injuries, but my back is strong enough. I can carry all of you, okay? I can carry all of you, but you have to listen. You have to fucking listen. If you don't listen, if you don't have these rule-based ideas, controlling expectations, how fast you make money can ruin you. Meteoric rises in equity increases absolutely can fucking crush you. What the hell did you just say? Yep. When people get into large sums of money, okay, and I'm going to give you an experience when I was a younger guy. I came from a very, very, very low income family. And I'm talking fucking low income. But I didn't feel like I was from a low income family because we didn't measure things on the basis of money. We were a family, dysfunctional, a lot of drunks and alcoholics in my family, which was the reason why I don't drink and I don't do those types of things, because I watched what it did to their lives. And I was taking note. Like I said, I was a journaler. Okay. And I wrote all this shit down as a kid, and it made a great impact on me. So I saw what unsuccessful living looks like, and I wasn't going to do those things. I didn't need anybody to say, hey, your family's full of fucking failures. And if you do what they're doing, you shouldn't expect to see much better. I didn't need that. I was fucking aware. Okay. I wasn't inebriated. I wasn't medicated where I didn't notice the obvious. But everybody else in my family got caught up in that shit. So I don't have a problem with someone telling me, do this, don't do that, if they're doing better than me. I don't have a problem with that. I actually coveted that as a young man. I was looking for a mentor. I was looking for someone outside of books and VHS tapes and DVDs and whatever else I can get my hands on at the time. And 99.99999 fucking percent of all of it was absolute fucking bullshit. It never fucking made me money. Not one bit of that horse shit made any bit of money for me. When I took everything that they said, inverted it, and looked for specific times of the day where they would capitalize on that bullshit. Well, out comes Inner Circle Trader. Here I am. But I'm from a modest upbringing. I wasn't born with a silver spoon up my ass. But I appreciate risk. I am aware of what can be lost in a trade, more so than I'm trying to make. And when you look at viewerships of a specific person or a company or some kind of entity that is a trading expert or whatever it is, everybody has a hive mentality. They have a team mentality. Okay, so our community gets a lot of flack because, number one, I like in these presentations where I'm unorthodox and animated sometimes and dramatic in other times and just basically unstable. I don't give a fuck what anybody's opinion of me is, because I'll beat the shit out of them in the fucking market. I'll trade outside their fucking ass and literally run circles around them. That's why nobody's fucking doing shit, and we're still here and we're closing the year and nobody actually fucking did it. Fuck you, Vinny. Your bullshit wasn't really there, and I'm still waiting. Let's go, baby, because I can still kick your fucking ass by the end of this fucking year. Let's bring it. But back to our regularly scheduled program. You have to have these rule-based ideas. You have to have them, because if you have them, it removes all doubts about what it is you should be focusing on. How much money should you be risking? What happens if I have a loss? Nothing. You just take a loss. It was a tax. That's all it is. When you're trading with a micro and you let that profit grow over time, you're allowing yourself, okay? You're allowing yourself to grow into new money. When I was younger, I didn't know what it was like to have money. I literally had no idea what it was like to have anything that would be considered good money. I worked menial, shitty ass fucking jobs, the minimum wage threshold, that's where it was. Okay. And then, I started my studies for computer science. And even then, I was doing a menial fucking job. I worked at a bookstore at the school. When students would come in, they would purchase their books, or they would come in and redeem them for a credit to go towards something else. I worked in that setting. And guess what I was fucking doing at the time? Most of you would have been sitting on your fucking ass playing on your smartphones or whatever, but we didn't have a smartphone back then. But if it was given the opportunity today, that's what you would have been doing. Or you're listening to your headphones like the guy that would relieve me and When I would end my shift, he would come on and he'd bring his little fucking Walkman in and be listening to his bullshit, whatever. He's a student just like I am. You know what I was fucking doing? I was in there reading the fucking books, taking notes in the fucking books. I didn't need to buy the fucking books. I'd read them already. I wrote down all the fucking notes that I needed to do, and boom, my GPA was fucking awesome because I took every advantage of the immediate availability to what was available for resources, what was available to me in terms of time for studying. I didn't fuck around. And when I was younger, I was all in this. And the fruits of it is what you see today. Like I can literally go out there and do whatever the fuck I'm doing right now in any time frame. And it still will look like I'm doing it like I've always done. Because it's the same fucking thing. No matter what time frame, whatever fucking market, just don't ask me to do it in crypto because I won't do it. Or synthetic, what's it called? Synthetic indices? Somebody else. A lot of Africans ask me about that. I don't know what the fuck that is, but I don't do anything with it. But crypto and that aside, doesn't matter what market it is. Everything I'm teaching you, it works there. Period. There's only certain aspects between Forex and futures that has a small, and I'm talking very, very small marginal effect of time. And those being the very specific times of the day that certain setups will form. And I've already taught it. It's already in the YouTube videos. It's there. Okay. So that's what he's going to be doing. It's very specific. It's time oriented. It's running for liquidity. Where's the next draw on liquidity? He's going to capitalize on that. He starts his analysis on the weekly chart. Where's the weekly candlestick likely to reach for? Everything I've already taught you. I'm not hiding any of that. And then he's looking at the economic calendar when there's going to be a high impact news driver. He's expecting some manipulation based on that and still reach for the draw. So he's using the economic calendar in that regard. But he's not taking any trades outside of 10 o'clock in the morning and 11. But what if it's 11 and 1? He ain't taking a fucking trade. What if this trading into the fair value gap at 9:59? He's not taking the fucking trade. He's got to answer to me. He's got to answer to me now. So he has rules. He can't take a trade outside of 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock. That's it. If he makes money in the morning, he's not allowed, he's not permitted to trade in the afternoon. If he doesn't find a setup in the morning, he can look for one in the afternoon. If he loses there, okay, he's not taking another trade. What happens to another fair value gap forms between 3 o'clock end time and 2 o'clock, the silver bullet window? He can't take the fucking trade. He has a loss. He eats it. But shit. If you want to be a failure, you do make your own fucking bullshit. Stop coming to me. Stop coming to other people. If you know everything, don't listen to people that are teaching. There's so many fucking know-it-alls in the comment sections. Oh, but you should just start a fucking YouTube channel. Trade, do executions, prove that you are somebody to listen to. Fuck your opinion. I don't give a shit. That's another reason why I can't wait to get out of here in fucking November. So many fucking idiots, man. But anyway, I covered a lot of stuff that many of you probably heard before, but I gave you a very specific element of controlling risk. And yes, it does slow down your expectations of making the big money because, like I mentioned, and it ain't going to make sense to you until you do it, when you have your first profitable trade or a series of profitable trades and you have your first profitable month, okay? When you close the month out and it's profitable and you start doing the math on that, and you say, okay, do I do that every month this year and every year going forward, assuming you're going to have that same rate of success? And you can't have that. Don't expect that in your mindset, you're going to do this every month. Don't do that. Okay. I believe in setting goals. I believe in doing all those types of things. But I tell you as a new trader, don't expect those types of things in the beginning. That's a couple years into your trading. A couple years. Do I think after a year to 18 months that someone can consistently do 6% per month? Absolutely. Absolutely. For the folks that have never done any advanced math beyond rudimentary math or applied it to risk management, it doesn't matter how much you have at the start if you understand how to use compound interest. Compound interest in the hands of someone that's capable, all you have to do is find something that repeats, that's measurable, just has a statistical probability of repeating more times than not in the future, and you have a fixed position in terms of how much money you can lose. Now, I'm saying that with quotations in the air with my fingers, okay? Because for purposes of CFTC regulations and required risk disclaimers that I can't show you here, past performance is not indicative of future results, and you can lose more than you have in your account. Putting that aside, because that's reality, you're opening yourself up to risk by having that specific number of handles of stop loss. In my son's case, I told him his model needs to be 20 handles. That allows for a lot of wiggle room. On a 1 minute chart, it gives you a lot of wiggle room. Because if your setup's really there, it's not going to fuck around and go against you when the fair value gets traded into. It's not going to rip through that bitch 20 handles and still go the other direction. That's not happening. Okay? That's not happening. And you only have one chance. So don't take my word for it. Go through the study of a 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock time interval and see how many times a fair value gap trades down to it and rips through it 20 handles and then comes back up and still goes inside of that hour. Remember, your execution has to be within 10 o'clock in the morning and 11 o'clock. Somebody's going to come in here. Look at this here. It went back down to it at 11:15, so you're full of shit. Wrong. You didn't fucking listen. You can't follow rules. This is the reason why you're failing. Some of you don't need a dad. You need to have your ass kicked. You need to be grabbed by the fucking lapels and shook and say, listen to me. You are not paying attention. You're not listening to the videos. You're asking me fucking questions or pointing out things that I said in the first 10 fucking minutes. How on earth do you expect to beat these fucking institutions that run this shit if you can't even pay attention to a fucking lecture? You have to block out all the bullshit. You got to get focused, dialed the fuck in. It's not going to happen overnight. It ain't going to be easy for a lot of you. But once you get this understanding, the work's over. You just have to implement it. But you got to have rules. You have to have rules. You have to stick to that rules of engagement. If you don't stick to it, you're going to fucking lose money. And you're going to lose money to the degree where you end up losing your account. And guess what happens then? You have a hard decision. Do you start all over again, or do you pack it in and say, it ain't for me? If you have done the work of trying to trade, okay? If you tried to study how to trade and you tried to trade with money before you were ready, and because you failed by trying to trade with real money, and you do not have minimum 6 months of consistency with a rule-based idea using what I've taught or anybody else's bullshit, and you're saying because you lost money with a real account, you're done, you're quitting, you're not a fucking trader. You're doing the best thing for yourself. You're absolutely making the best decision for yourself. But if you have 6 months of real data where you followed a rule-based idea, you were managing risk, you're not in there fucking playing cowboy, maximum leverage and trying to see what happens. Because when you do that maximum leverage shit, number one, you can't do that consistently with live funds and expect to survive it. You can't. Nobody can fucking do that as a new trader. You can't do it. You're not going to be the person that does it, okay? And trust me when I'm telling you that with love and sincerity. I'm not trying to tell you you're fucking stupid or a moron. I'm saying that you literally are not equipped to do that. Because if you've never made money with maximum leverage and you've never seen that kind of profit come into your hands, it literally causes you to go fucking stupid, like crazy. Like you think you see everything in a chart now, and your impulsiveness, and because you're hopped up. That when I say you're hopped up on goofballs, it's just a funny expression for me to explain to you that you've lost all sense of rational thinking. You have the feeling, imagine you won the lottery. and it was the 750 million or $1 billion bullshit that they say that exists, and you won that. Try to describe what that might feel. You can't even come close to it because you're never going to be there. But the person that would be there, they're euphoric. They're out of their fucking mind. And that feeling, because you've never been there before, will make you think that you are better than you really are, and you're going to go in there and do the same thing again when there ain't a setup. Somebody with a rule-based idea, a rule-based protocol to trading and assuming risk and managing that risk appropriately will say, I've done my executions. I've entered and ended the trade. I'm done. My rules say I can only do one setup. I don't give a fuck how much it runs. There's going to be all the people out there, oh, but ICT saying you shouldn't do this. And listen, for the fucking people that say that shit, come forward with your fucking results. Okay? Come forward with your fucking results, because nobody's got time for your Mickey Mouse fucking opinions. I sure as fucking don't have the time for it. I got till November. I'm looking at my fucking watch here. We ain't got much fucking time. Bring your shit. Bring your fucking shit or remain silent, because I'm done. I'm fucking done. I stayed a year longer on this fucking application on Twitter, longer than I wanted to be. Bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. You want to learn how to make money? Fine. Show up, roll your fucking sleeves up, take notes, and listen. Do everything I say to do, and don't do the things I say not to do. Expect it to take a minimum of a year. Minimum. Because there's things that you have to practice. There's things that you have to look forward to and see if they pan out. If they don't pan out, what does that make you feel like as a trader? What does it give you in terms of impulsiveness? Does it make you feel like you got to do something to fix that problem? Do you feel uncomfortable about being wrong? Those are things that people don't realize until they go through it. But they put blinders on and say, fuck it, that doesn't really exist. I need to go into the next trade and over leverage. I need to refund my fucking shit. I got to reset my stuff. I got to go ahead and make the world believe I'm a good fucking trader. I got to show my stuff on the internet. I got to do a MyFX book because nobody believes that I'm making profits. Nobody gives a fuck if you're making profits. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck that I'm making money. Nobody gives a shit. Why are you worrying about fucking shit that doesn't make any more fucking money for you? But you're increasing your fucking concern about shit that's going to have more negative impact than it's going to help you positively. I don't understand how many fucking people can have their heads so far up their own ass that they can't see that that's counterproductive. You'll do all that extracurricular bullshit that's going to hold you back and distract you from actually doing the work than simply doing 25% of the effort you're doing to do everything opposed to following instructions and then finding the success that you say doesn't fucking exist. It's asinine. I don't understand. I don't understand why so many fucking people drag their feet. It's for free. It's fucking proven it fucking works. It's proof. Come on. Seriously, why the fuck are you waiting around? Get in there and start. Don't tinker with the fucking rules. Don't bring your bullshit. GAN is not part of this fucking discussion. Unless I talk about it. Unless it's part of the fucking issue and the model that's being exposed, and as far as this is the time you're going to trade. This is the time where if you don't have a trade and it's this time of the day, you cannot take a trade. I don't give a fuck if anything happens after that. You can't trade. Period. That right there cancels about 75% of you. Well, I can't do it because, okay. I'm not going to stop fucking being me. I'm not going to stop living my life. I'm not going to stop being who I am because a certain percentage of my viewership can't do something. You said you can't. I didn't say you can't. You fucking said you can't. Because you said you can't, I fucking believe you. I absolutely believe that you can't do it. I believe you. You don't have to argue with me. You don't have to convince me. It's a settled matter. You said you can't, therefore you can't. When you change your mind and say, I can, I believe you. You don't need to convince me. I absolutely have proof that you can. Before you get your proof, I already know you can. But I'm in a position where I don't need to be swayed. I don't need to prove shit to nobody else. The proof's already out there. And I'm inviting all of you to simply investigate it on your own, and that way you'll find it for yourself. And when you get it, even if it's the $80 win, $80 a couple times a week, You know what that does? That pays for your fucking groceries. Yeah. It pays for a car payment, maybe a cell phone bill in addition to that. And then what happens over time? Wow. I'm really learning how to do this. I can now apply more effort and more equity. And then you compound that same cookie cutter approach that you've been doing with a micro account, micro contract. Now you're trading minis and eventually dozens of them. And guess what happens then? Your frequency of trading drops. What did you say? Wait a minute, I'm already got my calculator here and I'm doing 50 contracts of NASDAQ at this, and I'm trying to do it Monday through Friday. And this motherfucker just came out and said, trade less. Trade less? Man, what is this guy on? I'm on the reality tip. Because when you start making 5 figures a week, why the fuck are you going to push it? Live your life. Live it. Some of you, not all of you, some of you would find the very existence that's going to be absolutely phenomenal for you, and you don't have to make $1 million a year. Many of you think that you have to be a millionaire every year over and over and over again, or you're not successful. That's bullshit. Because the person that finds their income and then a surplus income beyond that, outside of their job, and they no longer need their job and they fire their boss, I'm going to tell you, that's a person that's walking on fucking clouds right now. They're absolutely comfortable inside their own skin. And they're not the ones out here trying to prove it to anybody because they don't give a fuck. They have got a lifestyle now that they are not plugging into social media, which is 90% of horseshit and fucking negativity. They're not giving a fuck if somebody doesn't believe. You think they care who doesn't believe that they're doing what they're doing? They don't even know these people exist that doubt what they do. They don't give a shit. And that's how I've been. And I'm going back to that in November. I don't give a fuck who doesn't like me, who doesn't believe in me, I don't give a shit. But I have left my fucking legacy in this fucking industry, and you can do whatever you want to do with it. You want to shoot holes through it? Okay, come with the data. You want to come here and say, well, it wasn't as good as he thought it was. Okay, well, show us what you did and how you fucking failed at it. What did you do? Where and how did you use the information? I guarantee you did it wrong. But I took notes. I see, here's 5 pages of some scribbly ass bullshit. I took notes. It's like my son. Dad, do I have to watch all these fucking videos? What the fuck did you just say to me? What did you just say to me? Well, I'll just ask. You were just what? You were just what? The whole fucking reason why I'm making these fucking videos is for you and your brothers. I don't need to do these fucking videos. I'm doing it in case something ever happens to me. My mindset, the things that I codified are actually accessible to you. You won't even understand my fucking journals unless you listen to this shit. So it's in the youth. It's not, my son's not even exempt from it. It's just everybody wants it easy. And truth be told, if I believed that it was an easier way, when I was younger, because I already knew it was going to be hard. Like I knew it was going to be hard. And that's why I said, I'm going to give myself 20 years. I'm going to give myself 20 years because it's going to take a long time, making money, lose money, and I'm going to probably mess it up here and there. And I just think that if I get to when I'm 40 and I have $1 million in the bank, I'm set. Now, mind you, I'm thinking I have a house. Doesn't need to be a big house like this one. It just needs to be a house and a car or two. And maybe I have a dog and I have a wife and some kids or whatever. And I'm comfortable. I'm not trying to live above my means. I just don't want to have to work when I'm 40 years old into the grave. That was my plan. That was my goal for myself. It wasn't get rich. It wasn't drive Lamborghinis. It wasn't any of that stuff. It wasn't a jet set life. It was just being able to do whatever I wanted to do when I wanted to do it and not have to worry about, am I going to be able to make my bills if I spend that money? Because I didn't come from rich. I didn't come from that. And when you start making money and in the visibility of being able to make more money that wasn't available to you, like your mind is closed to that. As much as you want to say, I can see myself, you're saying you would like that, but you can't really see it. Because if you can see it, if you really could see it, nothing's holding you fucking back. Not anybody that's doubting you and your family or friend circle, and anybody online. None of that shit's going to be an impediment. Nothing's going to slow you down. You're not going to hear the bullshit that anybody's going to say about it. And that's exactly what I felt when I was 20. November 5th, 1992 at 9 p.m. on a Thursday evening, I cracked that book open. And when I was done reading it, and you're probably asking for the first time if you're listening for the first time, what book were you reading? It was some piece of shit book written by Ken Roberts. I spent too much money on. It was supposed to be a course on commodity trading. And it was really just an introduction, very, very oversimplification of something that would have otherwise been useless to anyone. But some people have made money with it. And it was just one of those things where they got lucky. It was a big move. And he taught long-term daily chart trading where you hold on to a position for weeks and maybe a couple months, which that doesn't fit me. But when I finished that book, I had a new appreciation for money, number one. And two, it gave me an exit. Because at that moment, I was thinking, I really want to be able to use my education and be a systems analyst and basically work with programmers and work for companies that they have a function they need done, and work with an IT group and say, okay, this is what they need, and we got to go through and make this for this company. So that was what I wanted to do, and I no longer wanted to do that. November 5th, 1992, at 11:30, I was literally excited about something I barely knew anything about. And how many times my uncle brought it up when I was a younger teenager. I was 14, 15, 16 years old every Sunday. Richest people in the world trade futures and options, Michael. Like I was being conditioned. I was being primed. So I know the Lord had this for me. Like he had every intentions of me being who I am. The failures I've had is where I've allowed my instabilities, somebody that's bipolar, I don't always come across in an articulate manner. Sometimes I use language that isn't very, well, easy on the ears. And I'll swing from one way or the other. But there's no denying that what he's laid in my hands is absolutely the closest thing to a holy grail than there's ever been. The problem is you're going to want to use it more times than you should. It's kind of like when you're a teenager and you discovered sex for the first time. Man, that was great. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. And some of you men still feel that way. maybe the ladies too, but you have to have a time and place to do it. And you have to be able to use protection. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to multiply losing trades, and nobody wants a lot of unwanted children that the broken family will many times victimize. And I was from a fractured family. So I grew up in this world with a chip on my shoulder. I wanted to prove that even though my parents didn't want anything to do with me, I'm going to make them regret that. Even still today, they don't give a fuck. Like you would think, hey, Michael, this is crazy what you were able to do. Wow. Not one thing, nothing like that. But they both had their hand out for money though. My son has the best fucking cheerleader he would ever fucking have. Because I've been where all of you are and less than. I've been homeless. I was sleeping in a Mustang with my oldest son, laying in the front seat, no car seat. I was broke. Yeah. Filed bankruptcy in 1998 just to fucking go into a courtroom to tell his mother I don't have any money. That's the extent I was willing to go. My son, who this whole presentation was about and circled around, doesn't have that problem. He has someone that is absolutely available all the time, wants to absolutely spend every waking fucking minute building him up. I don't know any of you. And Alex, by the way, I have no availability to go to Miami. I appreciate your invite. I did get your email, but I'm also reminding everyone I am not trying to be a celebrity. I don't want to go on people's shows. I don't want to. I had people calling me literally wanting to be on talk shows. I don't want to be on any of that stuff. I don't want to be none of that stuff. I don't want to be a celebrity. If I wanted that shit, I wouldn't be leaving in November. I'm anticipating with a great deal of excitement my leaving of social media in November. So I want you to understand it's not a knock against you, Alex. I'm very proud of what you've been able to do, but I don't want to be in that setting. I'm uncomfortable with it. I don't want to have that type of climate around me, and I'll be watching whatever you do, and with a great deal of pride in what you've been able to accomplish. But I don't want to. I don't want to waste more time away from my kids because I have a little bit of interest in the trading aspect on two of them right now. And because of that, my youngest, is now asking me questions. So he spent time with me in 3 days, and we were watching price, and he actually watched me live trade it. Real money, by the way, not demo. So that inspired him. So I really want to take the advantages of not having all of this time invested in all of you, which I have absolutely enjoyed. I've loved it. I've loved being able to share this with you. I've loved the time spent with all of you. I've loved to see the results that some of you actually went out and did what I told you to do. And you're amazing, amazing results. A lot of you are still shy, and I'm sure once I'm gone, there'll be a void there where people will say, well, this is where I'm coming out. And I'm going to show everybody this, and this is what I've done. And that's great. I'll watch you. I'm going to cheerlead you from afar. But I don't even know you. And look what I'm willing to do for you. How much more do you think I'm going to do for my own kids? I have been wanting this my entire adult life, and I have it now. And some of you are literally writing me fucking emails telling me I'm selfish, I'm ignorant because I'm not willing to still teach. I'm not doing some secret fucking paid mentorship. You know what I'm doing? I'm investing my time, energy, and whatever the Lord gives me into my children. I have already left you more than enough. But now I have exactly what I've been waiting for. My own children have an interest in doing this. I would hate to waste that opportunity. Look back and say, you know what? I spent too many times doing several hours on a Twitter space where most of you didn't even appreciate the fucking time I'm investing in all of you. This is being recorded like this because that way it's not like a conversation when you have with your kid. Remember the last time you had a conversation with your parents and they were trying to tell you what you should and shouldn't do? You probably heard every ninth word in the conversation and everything else you fucking phased out. He's not going to be able to have that with this. This is the conversation. He knows exactly what I said. There was nothing hidden. When he says, but you didn't say, oh, I fucking said it, son. Let me play it back for you. Okay, here's where it happened. There's no excuse. Okay, and if something ever happens to me, he can go back in time and say, this is the day Dad laid it out for me, and he let everybody else hear it. And while some of you think that this is something that I shouldn't do, I get on here and I talk about my kids or I talk about whatever happens in my personal life. I don't sit down and aim to bring all that stuff out, but because I just don't have a filter, it just comes out. And I don't care if it offends you or if it feels like it's wasting your time because I don't give a fuck. Okay, I don't care. I'm doing what I have to do while I'm doing it, and this is the best way I can do it. I can't do it better. I don't know how to do it better. I'm not capable of doing it better. So therefore, this is the way it is. And if you don't like it, if it doesn't resonate with you, I'm sorry. It's not like I didn't try. I have tried for years to help all of you. And if it didn't work for you, I will hope you find something else that works. If trading has bit you, I know what it feels like to have that. And you just can't leave it. In the first couple of years of my existence as a trader, I was just like that. It was like a toxic relationship I couldn't let go of. But when you finally go through marriage counseling with yourself and you fix all the problems that you have, that's what happened for me. I was the one holding it all back. It was me over leveraging, over trading, trying to find setups that really wasn't there, forcing my will in the trade, taking my external desires of either depression or embarrassment because my first wife left me for an older man. All those things were problematic for anyone, whether they had the same mental baggage that I have or not. That's a hard pill to swallow. And then on top of it, your parents don't want nothing to do with you. And then you lose the only parent that you had or envisioned as, which was my grandfather. So I have all the fucking recipe of a comeback underdog story. And none of that is an excuse for me to lean on and say, that's the reason why I couldn't make it. It was always me. It was always me. It was my reactions to all those things. All of you had things done to you. Some of you have had worse physical things done to you than me that have scarred you. Some of you, you don't have any knowledge of who your parents are. Maybe you discovered that you were adopted and it's like, why would my parents even just give me away? How could you do that? Yeah, I get these types of emails from students and it holds them back. You can't change that stuff. Just like Cameron, he can't change the fact that he had that many attempts and that many failures. So he wrestles with that. Well, you either grow past that and say, okay, that was just a moment during this journey. I stumped my toe there, but it didn't put me in a wheelchair where I can't walk the rest of the way. You're literally going to have this in the rest of your life. You're going to have drawdown. You're going to have periods where you just can't find your groove, and you have to give yourself permission to stop trading. That means stop for a week or two. Don't try to push it really hard, and don't take external reasons for you to want to feel better about yourself or mask an uncomfortable situation you may be going through in your personal life. Maybe a divorce, maybe it could be a number of things. Whatever it is that's making you feel like you need some kind of distraction from that pain or that misery, the worst thing you can do is take that to the marketplace and say, here, reward me for doing this and make me feel better. Like you're picking up the charts and rubbing it like a genie in a lamp and like answer my wishes, do my bidding, answer to my will. And you're not even looking at it objectively when you're like that. You're in pain. You need some kind of, like I said, perfect distraction. And I was doing that in the beginning. That's most of what I was doing every single time I traded. And it's something you don't identify until you hit rock bottom. Not once, not twice, but a few times. And if you still feel like you want to be here trying to learn how to do this, you are a trader. You just haven't found your consistency or the model that fits you yet. Anybody that says, I quit, I'm not doing this, but you can't imagine living life without doing this, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. So just admit the fact that you're at a point right now, you're frustrated, and that's normal. I quit dozens of times when I was younger, but really that was a code word for I need a break. And that break only was long enough until I had enough money to put back into the account. It's the way it was, folks. That's exactly what it was. And you should be encouraged by that. Because I don't want to be the catalyst to talk anybody out of doing this, because I think this is one of the last best opportunities to become extremely comfortable, but with the potential to make whatever you want to make. But you have to be comfortable accepting periods where you lose money. And it might be a series of them. And if you can't control yourself, if you can't identify the fact that, okay, I had a losing trade, I want to get that back. I'm mad. I'm regretful. I didn't see it like I should have. Okay. Is that the proper state of mind before you put on a new trade? Fuck no. So you stop. That's why these rules are here for him, because he couldn't. And then when he would get mad, just putting the trade on just to see what would happen. And then ready to take the credit if he was right, like he did something. You ever been there before? So to remove all the ambiguity, all the guesswork, he has a start time. He has to be in front of his computer at 9:45 or on his phone checking it at 9:45. He has to be on duty until 10:59. Because at 11 o'clock, his shift is over. Now, if he's in a trade and it's going past 11 o'clock, he hasn't hit his target, he still holds it. But the initial entry, that execution has to happen between 10 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, to me, I don't want him to take that trade. But at 10:59, he can. But why would you have the rule like that? Because that's how strict I am. I want him only on that time. I don't want him looking at anything past 11 o'clock. That tells you I have pressed on you the importance of that hour. There's something going on in that hour that I can't tell you, but this pattern, this model, this approach to trading capitalizes on it. And this is the closest fucking thing I could get you to it without telling it and getting myself in trouble. And it's the same thing that's happening at 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's the same fucking thing that's happening at 3 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock in the morning, New York local time. It's algorithmic. It's doing something it was going to do regardless of how many people buy and sell. Period. End of story. That's all I'm going to say about it.
I can hear the demons call when they do what they do. And now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. Sometimes I feel like all is lost, but I know it's not true. I wanna put up all my walls cause I'm not in the mood, but then I cut myself off from the rest of the room. I know that time can heal it all if you're patient and soon. It can all be worth it, all the searching. Pain is never really permanent, but damn it hurts, man. I could feel all of the turbulence and it's concerning. I've been searching for a purpose, I hope it's worth it. This society is really trying me. Ain't no hide and seek, I hide to be far from anxiety. I need my space, I need my privacy, I need some silence, please. You're all too loud, you don't speak quietly. Opinions violently thrown across every surface, it makes me nervous. Is the world honestly burning? That's all I'm learning. Hope that we can make a turn and start reversing. All our minds have put the work in, we got some work, man.